Hello and welcome to a promotional review of the game Commander 85. It's developed by The Moonwalls and its publisher is Ultimate Games, which I want to thank for providing me a code for this game to review. So, firstly, I'm going to jump into a new game here and I'm going to leave it just play out the beginning of the game. I want to start off with what I'd rate this game. Now, it's not one of the best games, and unless you know a lot about computers, this game is going to completely boggle your mind, because it's based upon an old-styled PC, the entire game is, and it's all cryptic and difficult to understand if you're not up to date with how computers work and programming. It's not as easy as it seems, so I'd probably rate this game a 5 out of 10. Due to its difficulty, I don't think any kids are going to be playing this. It's not more suited towards them. If you're older, it's more suited to you, because I feel that the game is entirely based upon the 80s retro style. This is like the most sort of cinematics you'll have in the game at the very beginning. You can go ahead and hold B and fast forward through this, but the basic premise is you get a model computer and you are messing around on that, and you end up having to save the world. And it's not as easy as it seems, because there's a lot more to it than it seems. But I'll show you what the gameplay's like. It's not too bad. The music's okay, it's very old and retro styled, and will give you a nostalgic feel to the game. Now, your mother will come in sometimes to tell you that you need to clean dishes, or go to bed, or to get off the computer, etc, etc. But the completion for this should take you about 2 to 3 hours with the guides that are available out there. But this is, as I said, very 80s retro styled cinematics, but this is about as much as it gets in the entire game, as from here on out it's all based upon your bedroom and there's not a lot to go off of. So this is like the most sort of cinematic cutscenes, I'd say, that are actually in the game. Besides this, it's just the other ones that are at the end for actually completing it.
Your school called.
So there's your mother.
They say you haven't been to class.
She's not too happy with you.
You want to tell me about it? If they call again, I swear I'll smash that computer to pieces. That computer is melting your brain. I can't remember the last time I saw you with a book. Well,
so this is the game.
Let that damn computer destroy your life.
The entire thing is based upon this room here, and all you'll want to do is go straight onto the computer itself. So, as you can see, you've got a computer, you can use it. The computer talks back to you, and that's about as much as there is. The dog comes in at some point, and you can actually pet it, but besides that, there's not much more than that to it. It's all based here. So it tells you to turn the computer on, but I'm actually going to go ahead and turn down the volume of the voice, because it's extremely annoying, and after a while it gets frustrating just to hear it over and over again. It's going to repeat the same sort of thing. So I'm going to leave it at the 50%. I'm going to save the game here, and I'm going to resume. So I'm going to go use the power key here. This powers up the computer. You can go ahead and use it straight away. So this is basically it. This is you and the game. This is entirely what the whole game's all about. So you put in whatever name you want, and that's what it will call you from now on. And once you've done that, it's going to teach you some of the basic things that you'll want to do. So you'll actually want to go ahead and press B to back out. Now, this is the phone here. You put it on the modem, and it allows you to access the internet. And that's about as much as you need to do with that. There's a couple of things you need to do with the floppy disks over here, and there's nothing much else to this. It's very difficult to understand. There's a couple of things in the drawers and cabinets that you can look at, but there's not much else to it besides that, really. All you're looking for to begin with, if you want to go ahead and play this like yourself, you can go ahead and keep listening to this walkie-talkie, and over time, you'll develop a relationship basically with this computer, and it's extremely difficult to understand how to even play this, in my opinion. What you'll need is to keep reading manuals and stuff about it, and there's a couple of different things that you can actually go ahead and figure out. So, if you flip through the pages here, there's a lot of different things it teaches you how to do, but the main things you'll want to learn is the crack codes, because if you want to actually go ahead and learn how to do this yourself, it's not as easy as it looks. So, doing a cipher attack is to try and figure out the exact code that there is for the piece of information you're looking for on a specific website. And to get through that, you will get a string of numbers or letters which will correspond to the cryptography and encoding part. And it's not as easy as it seems. So I'm going to put this down. I'm actually going to show you one of the endings that you can do immediately. So you want to go ahead and bring up the list of, I think it's basic commands. And you'll see the basic commands here that you can do. So you can dial a number, which will connect you to the internet. So you want to go ahead and dial the number 217 407 2504. And you will actually need dashes in between these as well for the phone number to work. Otherwise, it won't call. So it calls what it needs to, and you'll get to this point where it says employee logon for most of the websites. Then you want to try and log on using the word crack. Once you put crack in, you can go ahead and choose a brute force or a cipher attack. So if you don't want to try and figure out the text codes using websites online, you can go ahead and do a brute force attack. So I have threads I can assign to it, and as I have 0 out of 5, I actually have to go ahead and close down some of my threads. So we want to list the processes first. That's what I need. I completely forgot. I haven't played this in a long time, so you want to go ahead and list processes. Like I said, if you don't know how to do things on the old computer, then this game can really set you back. So list processes, and you can see these are available, and it would be easier to play this game with a keyboard, I'd say. So when you get through to one of the websites, go ahead and try and crack it. Go ahead and brute force it. So now as you can see, because I listed the processes, now I can actually have threads I can assign. So I have 4 out of 5, so I can assign 4 threads. Assign 4 threads, and you click yes. And this is where it starts this thing, where it'll go through these screens and will count down the numbers from the top, from the time left, and the more threads that you have available, the quicker it will be to do this. Once you get through all of this, it will come up with the website, and from this you can go ahead and actually finish the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the actual review for this game that I'm going to give it now, whilst this is happening in the background, as it does take quite a while. Especially some of the other ones, they take like 800 minutes or something. But in real time, I think it's about 30 minutes I had to wait for one of them, which isn't too bad, but once you've done this and understand it, overall it's not so bad of a game, and it's kind of cool to go through the story as it's intended to, and not just jump straight to the end as you can do from the very beginning as I'm doing here. So the fact that the difficulty for this game is quite high is the reason why I give it such a low rating. If it was easier to understand and had a better tutorial to how to play the game, because that's literally the main focus of it, this entire computer is the entire game, and that's the one problem it has, that it's not easy to understand in any retrospect, that to get through this part of the game is difficult, and to understand how to do the other things, because you have to hack into like a bank, the school, the manufacturer's website, and figuring all this stuff out was not easy at all. I had a lot of help with figuring a lot of this out, so it wasn't as easy as it seems right now. Just to get to this point alone took a long time, but doing it this way, the brute force attack, is easier than trying to figure it out online, in my opinion. But some of them are even easier than you imagined. Sometimes it's really difficult to find a website that will decipher the code for you, and it's usually a word. It's always one word, usually, and once you figure out that word, you can go ahead and proceed through it. And I feel like this needs improving for it to be more successful, because not a lot of people know about this game, which is a shame. It has less than 100 people who've played it on TA, and only 31 of them actually finished it. But with the guides that are available on there, it's not so bad. And when I ever talk about TA, if you don't know what TA is, if you're new to this channel here, I'm talking about true achievements. That will show you all of the achievement guides for the achievements that you're trying to get. For most games, I'd say, that are out there now that has guides on there. So I've done a couple myself for this specific game, as it made it easier for other people to understand it. And a lot of these achievements are quite rare, because not a lot of people have played it or even know about this game, but it is an easy completion if you're willing to sit through these screens here up until the end. It's not so bad. The cinematics are okay, and the storyline can be quite funny sometimes. I would recommend going ahead and trying it. It's entirely up to you. I will try and do more of these types of videos where I live record myself doing a promo review in the future, so let me know if you don't want that. If you do want that, what kind of videos you actually want from me, because I'm not sure what I want to record anymore, as I've recorded walkthroughs and things, and they've been helpful to people, and not everybody enjoys them. Some people think that my walkthroughs are very difficult to understand sometimes, and I get that if I'm not commentated all the way through them, but with this game, I feel like you don't really need to have a complete walkthrough guide for it. It's a lot of trial and error, figuring things out for yourself if you actually want to enjoy the story to it, or if you're just in it for the achievements, use the guides that are already there. But besides that, it's overall an okay game. It just needs improving to the more casual audience that won't understand anything what's going on, that have never played this type of game before. It's sort of puzzle-based, where you have to figure out the phone number, call them up, try and get the password, put it in, and that's about it. Besides that, you need to figure out what the floppy disks do, so you can install things onto them, and then you can use them on the PC itself. It's not as simple as it seems, and as you saw earlier, even I, after have played this before for a few hours, didn't know where the basic commands were, and that can cause you a problem if you don't know where things are. Especially when you're trying to go for the achievements, because it can really set you back, as I feel it needs that improvement for people. The graphics, I'd say overall, obviously very retro, very minimal in terms of what it can be. I feel like this is probably an indie dev team, more than likely, and if it is, this is an okay game for an indie game. Not obviously one of the best out there, but it's different and very unique in its own style, and has its own unique sense of story arc, I'd say. It's completely a throwback to the 80s of how life used to be, and if you had one of these old machines and trying to boot them up and figure everything out, that's what it was like for teenagers back then, to try and actually do anything on the internet. And I guess we can see how much it's advanced and developed now over time, so it's a good look back as to what life used to be like, I'd say. The price for this game, currently in the UK, it's set at £12.49, and I think that's a little bit steep for what it's asking for in terms of the price too. I think it should be around £8, maybe £7.99. That should be a better price for it, but not £12.50. It's just a little bit too high in my opinion. It doesn't feel like it offers enough for people to go ahead and get this game for that price. You'd expect a little bit more, and you could probably even get branded like actual AAA titles for that price, even some of the huge companies, especially when games go on sale. But this is actually coming up to figuring out the brute force here, which I'm just going to go ahead and show you what you do after that, and it's as simple as that. to actually finish this part of it, and it's actually worth a 200G achievement just for doing what I'm doing now. Just for sitting here and waiting to hack this thing, and then you need to save the world at the end. I think there's a nuclear bomb or something that's happening, and it's a throwback to the game, not the game, the thing from War Games, or from, I can't remember the exact title of the movie, but it's the one where there's a big sort of AI machine that figures out all the different types of nuclear disasters that can happen in the world, set in the 80s, obviously, and some kid manages to hack into it and find secrets and stuff to it, and could end up destroying the world. But that's your entire objective for this game, to save the world from it exploding. There is a little bit of a backstory to it if you want to go ahead and figure it out, and there's other little clues and stuff around the room as to what happened in the past. But overall, it's not so bad. You'll go ahead and get this screen here at the end of every one to say that you've actually succeeded in progressing through the story itself, as that itself is a challenge. It's never as simple as it seems. And there's only 10 achievements for this, so it's not too bad. Like I said, it'll take you back around 2 to 3 hours. But once you've got in here, you will see this screen appear. Right. Okay. Now I think I get it. This could be such a pain. Right. Kill. 1. Yes. And you literally have to manually go through them all, don't you? I bet. Kill. I think it's... You literally have to go through all of them. Okay. Kill 3. Nope. It's such a pain, and it's completely difficult. I think it needs improving, honestly. Let's just kill 5. I don't remember how I did this before, but you get my point. It's extremely difficult to even figure some of this shit out, and I feel like it needs improving on to even understand half of this shit. Half the time things don't work, half the time things do, so overall, that's going to be my review of this game. It's a 5 out of 10 from me. It's been kind of a little bit of a longer review for this now. I have been talking for like 20 odd minutes, and that's all I'm going to say for this game. It needs improving, it needs a tutorial. Sounds great, feels very nostalgic, but needs some sort of helpful guide to understand what you're trying to do here, because it's really not easy. Besides that, you can go ahead and look around the room, and because the guy is actually tired, it's not as simple. So there's the dog that you can pet, and that's what I'm going to finish it off with, just petting the dog, because that's about as simple as it gets. Alright, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.